Jeff, ready?
Let's do this.
Nick, ready?
Yes.
All right, let's go.
Freshly picked and ready for consumption. Here comes another round of the Radishcast.
Another Radishcast coming in for you. I'm your fearless commissioner, engagement farmer Mike Fisher, along with it, just like every time, I'm my co-host Nick Spill Stoll and Jeff, Dad in Training Gregory. Let's turn some rumors into facts. Jeff, happy to be back. Nick, glad to have you back.
Been a long time coming. Been a long time. We've had a few opportunities to try to record. Another worked out. So jump right into this.
We are
Ready.
we are not in mid-season form at all. I'm like 30% sure that all of these recordings aren't going to work. We're on a new software because Zoom was dumb and limited us to 40 minutes, and we have more than 40 minutes of stuff to talk about.
For better or worse, yeah. I might lag out, so we'll see. That's another
Nick,
wrench I'm throwing in there.
Nothing new there.
yeah,
Oh,
Nick's
come on.
Wi-Fi has never been a problem before, but now his computer is definitely going to be a problem, so it'll be fine, I'm sure. But
Like
season
30%,
form,
right?
maybe.
30% will work.
there's just an overarching 30% chance that this show is just like gets scrapped and is terrible, or I don't know.
Post it.
They'll
see
do
what-
good for our
yeah,
30
it's
viewers.
going up either way.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, I know we all want to get out of here a little quicker than usual. Try to keep this show moving. So why don't we jump right into our first segment?
Draft Day Darlings.
The Draft Day Darlings. And this segment is brought to you by the two-time defending champion Grizzly Adams. It will forever be the greatest team of all time, and all of us here at the Radish Cap aspire to be great like them.
Boo.
I blacked
Thank you,
out
Cole.
what happened.
Please.
All right, so Draft Day Darlings. Just going to take a quick run, go around and just talk about. We each picked two rookies that we just wanted to talk about, touch on, interesting things, whether it's, someone that's expected a lot of coming into the season, someone that kind of came out of nowhere during the preseason. I really dove in the dumpster for these, so I'm gonna get us started here. So my first one's Isaiah Likely, so the tight end for the Ravens. I talked with John, so John owns him. For those of you that probably don't know, because why would you know? It's a real low end player, but it's just interesting because he's a tight end, had a great preseason, is getting hyped like crazy, but at the same time is sitting behind Mark Andrews, who's on like 3 or 4 years of a really expensive contract on a team that doesn't pass very much. Like, right, he could be great, but it's just going to be really interesting because even if he's awesome, he's not going to be, anything for fantasy probably for 2, 3, 4 years. And at that point, who can really predict what's going to happen like 2 or 3 years from now, right? So I don't know. What do you guys feel about his ascension out of nowhere?
Well, when you talk about tight ends, typically you need them to wait those 2 to 3 years. So, by the time he's rolling into that third or fourth year breakout that you usually see from tight ends, it might be time when Mark Andrews is kind of on the downward slope. So we'll see. I mean, I think for what John probably got him in the third or fourth round, I'm assuming, but
Yeah, fourth
kind
or
of a
fifth.
dart throw there. And just to be even hyped up for a late round pick like that, you got to be liking just even having him on your roster spot, even if he's just a clog for a year or two.
Nick, any thoughts?
Nah, that same thing. The pathway's there because the emergence of tight ends later on in their career. Mark Andrews, how old is he right now?
25.
Late 20s? Oh, is he only 25? I thought he was like 27.
I thought he was
Never
around
mind.
27 too.
Never mind. I take back what I said. Then I got nothing. Sorry,
All
John.
right. Jeff, why don't you give us your first rookie?
I went with a guy that was a top 10 pick. I think he was pick 8. So Drake London, wide receiver, went to the Falcons this year. Guy that just, immediately steps into a huge target share. Guy that's going to be kind of on a crappy team for the next couple years. Quarterback that's on that team probably isn't going to be there or the same one next year. So, just a high potential guy that has a lot of draft capital and kind of falls into the situation where he's the number one wide receiver. They got Kyle Pitts there. That's really going to be the only other person that's fighting for targets in my eyes, at least from the passing game there. So, I think Joe got him at pick 3. So, he was in consideration to be the number 1 pick on a couple draft boards. I saw the number 2 pick for sure. So getting him at the 3rd spot, I think, is a pretty good spot for Joe. And, I like the player. I like the opportunity that he's in, like the target share that he's going to command. So just a guy that I think we got to keep on our radar and could be a pretty big force here to come in the next coming years, and as early as this year if he gets back from his injury.
Nick, pro Drake London, anti Drake London?
I think I'm pro. I mean, the target share, like Jeff talked about, who the hell else are you going to throw it to? I mean, you got Pitts and then him. So I like the draft capital. I like Drake London. Thought about taking him in a couple redrafts, but I'll let him sit on the waiver wire for me. See what happens.
Yes, yeah, I definitely like Drake London. I thought it was really interesting, not even necessarily about the player, but the organization, right? They had Kyle Pitts, who's, a 6'6", long, can go up and get a ball kind of receiver. They get Drake London, who's a very similar, receiving threat. They traded for Brian Edwards, again, another big-bodied guy. They signed Auden Tate. They ended up cutting him, but like every receiver that it seemed like they were going after was a guy who was 6'4" and above and was someone who was, going up and getting the ball. So it was pretty obvious that was something the Falcons were trying to do. So, it's clear that that's what they wanted, and they got that in London. But Nick, I'll toss it over to you. Let you pick out your first rookie.
Yeah, my first one's Kenneth Walker. Stud per state. I like the landing spot because Penny, I don't trust him to stay healthy all year. I mean, Walker's already hurt now with hernia surgery?
Yep.
Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I mean, if they can both stay healthy, I don't see them doing much else than run the ball. You got the game manager. I don't know who's going to start there. Do you guys know between Locke and
I think Gino.
Gino, baby.
Gino. I love me some Gino, my backup quarterback, baby. Yeah, he's just a game manager, so they're going to hand the ball off a lot. So I like that pick.
Jeff, how you feel about Joe's other top 4 pick?
I like it. I mean, running backs go pretty early in rookie drafts. Kenneth Walker was, in my eyes, the second best running back available. He had that 3-4 stack to pick, and to get London and Walker to fall for him at the 4 spot, I think it's awesome. I think, like Nick said, Penny's injury history has been very bad. So to have someone that could potentially step in his rookie year and get a bulk of the carries in an offense that's going to have to run the ball, I think there's a lot of upside there.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. We'll see how many scoring opportunities they have this year, between Kenny and Penny, who's going to get that goal line work. That's, I think, where most of their production is going to come from, just with that offense. I don't think Gino's going to be all that efficient moving it. So it's hoping that they're the ones scoring the touchdowns, and who's it going to be. But All right, my second one, like I said, I'm dumpster diving, baby. So I want to talk about Isaiah Pacheco, another guy who went in like the late 4th round, I think, of our rookie draft to Monroe. Another guy that was just getting hyped up to no end because he was taking first team snaps with Kansas City. And so it's interesting, right? He's a 7th round pick. This gave me flashbacks to my one of my first ever rookie drafts in a dynasty league. Darwin Thompson was the talk of the town coming out of preseason. 7th round rookie running back. He was the only one in town. He was going to get so much work for the Chiefs. And then they signed 30-year-old Shady McCoy to take all the carries instead, and Darwin Thompson did nothing. So it's funny to watch, right? I was in a rookie draft a couple weeks after ours, and Isaiah Pacheco went in the 2nd round, and it's just crazy. You know, guys get all that hype, and you know, we'll see in a couple weeks, but right, he's explosive, he's fast, but that could just mean that, you know, he's going to end up being a kick returner or a special teams player and is nothing more than that. So it's just going to be really interesting to see, right? You see these guys that were nothing and then they get hyped up to, right, being 2nd round picks, and then was it worth it, or is it all just preseason fluff? So I'm interested to see. I don't know if you probably don't have a ton of thoughts on Isaiah Pacheco, but I'll still open it up to you. A lot of nothing.
I think he's just going to be Personally, I think he's the preseason fluff that you're talking about. I think Clyde's going to have every and all the opportunities, being a 1st round pick not too long ago. They're going to run with him. So if he does hit, it's kind of a cool story. 7th round came out of nowhere, like you mentioned and talked about there a little bit, Mike. So it's going to be a wait and see. I got nothing really more. I'm not really expecting much, if anything, from him this year.
No. Yeah, me neither. I mean, I'm not a Clyde Edwards-Helaire boy by any stretch of the imagination, so maybe there's a path there, but I think the bulk of the carries this year is going to go to him. So
I'm very pro Clyde this year, but maybe that's a little bit
Really?
of owner bias coming in.
A little bit.
But Jeff, toss it over to you. Let's hear your 2nd pick.
Yeah, so I went with a guy that, going into the year and even last year was going to be, one of these top 5, top 6 picks in rookie drafts, and George Pickens, and got injured during the season, had, I believe, an ACL injury, came back, wasn't very good, didn't get a lot of, receptions and yards, and ended up sliding in our rookie draft towards the back end of the 1st round. But I think he's one of those guys he's a freak athlete. If everything hits for him, he could be just a major steal. He could be that should have been wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2 taken and ended up being 5 or 6 maybe in our draft. So, he's another one of these fantasy preseason darlings that just has been getting hyped up like crazy. You see him all over on Twitter and the highlights of him catching and pushing his defender over. And so, he's got a pretty good opportunity there, being for sure the wide receiver 3, if not the wide receiver 2, if, Claypool or Deontay Johnson's hurt. So I think he's going to see immediate opportunities. So kind of excited to see what he looks like and what he does this year and early on.
Nick, apparently we're a very pro Joe Thomas show today, but what do you got on
Joe Tom.
Pickens?
I like him too. He's mean, just like a lot of Steelers wide receivers in the past, like early on. I think he'll do pretty good. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of fluff going on about him, and you got a couple other wide receivers there. Rookie coming in, who the hell's throwing to him? So we'll see.
This is one of those teams similar to the Jets, where it feels like everyone is getting the hype of like that they're going to get this volume, but there's really only so much volume to go around, and is the offense really going to be that good, right? You look at the Jets, can Breece Hall be good and Elijah Moore be good and Garrett Wilson, their top 10 pick, can they all be good? Can Najee Harris get the volume he got last year, plus Pickens have this breakout year, plus Deontay Johnson gets 1 million targets, and then Chase Claypool is just hanging out there, right? Is he dead in the water? There's just a lot. And then Pat Freiermuth, right? Just so many guys that like everyone sees a path for, and I think that's part of the uncertainty, right? Somebody's got to come out of there, so some people are going to be right, some people are going to be wrong, but it could just end up being a whole lot of nothing. I think Pickens, I'd be a lot more excited about Pickens if Deontay had not gotten the extension that he did. If there was an out where Deontay wasn't going to be there next year, I think it'd be like wheels up on him. That just dampens him a little bit. Not that the opportunity's not still there. Nick, why don't you close us out? Give us your last guy.
Brian Robinson, baby. We saw a little hype, first team reps, then he gets shot. Clarity in that backfield a little bit, but I mean, I don't trust Gibson, and I think that's why I traded those guys for Robinson to you, Mike. And I think I don't think he's going to be great, but I think he was just going to get the ball because of the opportunities uh, given up by Gibson just having fumbling issues.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those guys, having traded him to you, I was kicking myself for a little bit because after I made the trade, right, he's getting all this hype and he's going crazy. And then, yeah, he ends up getting shot and now he's going to be out for a while. And I was like, yeah, I guess it ended up working out because I never would have traded him after he got the hype. I get way too dug in on,
Right.
on guys. Jeff, any last thoughts on Brian Robinson?
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see. I think he had earned that RB1 spot in Washington, so I think he would have got the bulk of the early down carries. So, it's unfortunate what happened to him, but it sounds like, and there's some reports that he's already, working back, the swelling's going down, stuff like that. So, we won't know how long he's out or shelved on the sidelines, but I'm hoping he gets back and we'll see kind of where he is and where he's at in his recovery, and if he steps into that running back one spot, or if Gibson can kind of take a hold of that here early on and run with it for the rest of the year.
Yeah, not a lot of historical injury analysis on guys getting shot in the butt and knee, so it doesn't help our predicting for when he might be back.
That'll be a case study.
Yeah, we'll do some case studies on it. It'll be good. All right, well, all that said, let's hop into our next one.
Dive on into the Husky League matchups.
Husky League matchups coming at you, and we're also going to add in a little divisional deep dive. Since we didn't get to do our off-season shows, we're going to give our picks for who we think is going to win the division, second, third, fourth, and so on. So, real quick before we jump into the first one, we'll take a quick trip down memory lane. Last year's standings. Jeff took home the coveted ring for best Radishcast host. So Jeff gets to flaunt that over us. I don't know. His picture's kind of grainy. I can't really see it, so that's fine.
Oh, got his ass!
You'll see it in a couple of weeks. I'll wear it to your wedding, Mike.
Good.
Wow.
I like it. Get that bling going. But Jeff took home a tight one last year. All of us were within a couple games of each other. We'll see how it shapes up this year, and let's get it started with our first matchup, which is Grizzly Adams and Coach Alex Cooley taking on Archduke Fish and Coach Mike Fisher. Dukes are a 20-point favorite in this one. Couple things to get to, but first, Jeff, I'm going to throw it to you, and why don't you take a quick look at the reigning champ side of the ball here. Tell me what you're seeing, what you like, what you don't like.
Well, I don't like his running back situation with Chase Edmonds and Pollard being your starting running backs, both guys that have, opportunities to catch a lot of balls, to get a lot of receptions and hopefully some yardage. But, similar to what Cooley was like all last year, he's going to live and die with his wide receiver core and returning Deebo Samuel, Deontay Johnson, and hopefully Smith with a pretty good bounce back, or, can elevate his game to that next level. I think he's going to need that a lot. And, he's got some pretty good matchups with Deebo going against the Bears, Devontae Smith going against the Lions, Deontay Johnson against the Bengals. That's probably going to be a high-scoring game. So, not to discredit anything either about Lamar Jackson going against the Jets, but he's got some opportunity here to put up some big points. I don't think he's going to. I think Mike, you got this covered. I'm going to go with you, and the Archduke is going to take this one for the first one of the year. Get hot and keep going.
Nick, I'll toss it over to you to take a look at my side of the ball. I don't want to brag about myself too much.
Yeah, it's roster baiting. I mean, looking at coming into this year, you and Tony are elevated above everyone else. I mean, you look at that running back room, it's just orgasmic. And then you got Evans with no Godwin. I don't know if he's playing week one. Even if he is, I'm sure it's going to be limited snaps. So a lot of targets going that way against Dallas. Um, yeah, dude, I don't see any holes in your roster at the beginning of the year, and it's scary. It's very scary for me, Mike.
I will say I did see George Kittle popped up on the injury report today. I think it was minor. What I saw was like they said day to day, but they said they kind of expected him to practice today, but then he just didn't. Kind of last second, so it sounded like it wasn't that serious. I mean, so if he is out, that means I'm kind of jumping into the dumpster a little bit and throwing Gerald Everett in there. So we'll see if that ends up being the case, but. Yeah, I agree. Jonathan Taylor against Houston, McCaffrey against the Cleveland Browns without Watson. They're gonna be rough. They'll probably get up in that game, and then Brady and Evans in the shootout against Dallas. I'm pumped about my team. Hollywood Brown with all their other receivers and everyone missing, so he'll be the focus of the town there. So yeah, I'm gonna take myself to cover this 20.1. Nick, did I get your call here?
Oh yeah, I got you. I didn't think it was going to be too close.
So as far as divisionals here, I have myself winning the division. I do have Grizzly hanging out second in this division. So curious divisionally where you guys got us. Nick, throw it over to you right away.
Yeah, I definitely have you first looking at that division. It's really close between the other three. It's what, Grizz, Troy, and then Jordan of those three. It's a toss-up, really. I have Grizz finishing fourth, though. And really, it was a toss-up between him and Troy, the defending champ, down at the bottom.
Yeah, I agree that it's really tight. For those last three, I could really flip them any which way and wouldn't have to complain about it. Jeff, where do you got everybody standing?
I got Mike, you at the top, and then I got a little bit more respect for Grizz than Nick does, but not a lot. I got him coming in at third. So
I have a little bit.
Not a lot.
It was close, Cooley. Third and fourth was close.
Well, as a consolation, I will say Travis picked Grizz straight up in this game to win. Not even the spread, a straight up win. So,
my God,
that was slow for me. But there was originally a start-sit question here with Dobbins, Pollard, and Edmonds. Cooley needing to pick two running backs, but doesn't look like Dobbins is going to play week one. So we kind of glossed over that one. Didn't really give it too much mind. Figured we knew where it was going. So, moving on to our next matchup.
I'd probably go Dobbins, Cooley. I'd throw him in there.
Yeah, maybe.
Might as well.
Probably do that.
I don't think it'll matter, dude.
All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got the SCLSU Mud Dogs and coaches Troy Hecht and Joe Harper taking on Lil Jordan and Coach George Chartier because he doesn't really have a name yet. Got a dead even line in this one. I've seen it up one, I've seen it down one, but all I do know is that this is our
Hot diggity dog, it's the game of the week.
Yeah, so our game of the week, and I'm actually gonna take a second here. So when I toss it over to each of you to talk about these players a little bit, I'm gonna throw up some things out of my spreadsheet. So a quick little at a glance of each of the teams. So Nick, I'm gonna throw it to you first. Let you talk about the Mud Dogs. I'll throw up the stuff off of my spreadsheet, some percentages I got of his chances, team overview, that kind of stuff. What do you see on the Mud Dogs roster here?
I like the moves he made off season. It's not going to be enough to do much this year, but I really like Bateman this year. Obviously, Mahomes and Mixon are going to do the job no matter what. Judy, we'll see with that new offense and Russ over there if he's going to cook, if Sutton's going to be the main target, or if Judy's going to scrape some of those up. Then you got Pitts in there. We talked about that. I like his team. But this week, I think I'm going to go with Lil Jordan and the crew.
Yeah, I definitely think that's fair. Jeff, I'll toss it over to you next, taking a look at this matchup, maybe a little bit more on Jordan's side of the ball, what you seeing.
Yeah, I mean, another guy that made some offseason moves, Jordan, kind of bolstering his roster with getting a running back and a wide receiver in that McCaffrey trade. So, he's got Tyreek, Aaron Jones, Zeke, Sutton, Lazard, some pretty big guys with some pretty big opportunities here. Lazard might be the biggest unknown at this point, is if he's going to play, if he's not going to play, if he is he going to be the wide receiver one or not? But I think Jordan really has a pretty strong running back room right now, and hopefully Dak can, bounce back this year, have another good year. So I like a lot of the matchups I like a lot of the players that Jordan's putting out this week, but I'm going to go with the Mud Dogs for my pick on week 1.
Yeah, man, I battled on this one, and even looking at the rosters, I feel like I want to change my mind, but you see Dak and Zeke both playing in the same game. Zeke going against the Tampa Bay run defense that was so good last year. You got to think that they're going to be pretty good again this year. And then that tight end room, right? Donald Parham's his best option. There's just not a lot to be excited about there. Maybe he comes out and surprises. Maybe he catches a touchdown, but that's just really a disgusting spot on Jordan's roster right now. But yeah, Troy definitely had, some of probably the biggest swing of an offseason of anyone, right? Went from, bottom team to now right in the playoff hunt with a lot of others. So I'm going to stick with what I got in the doc. I'm going to stick with Lil Jordan winning this one. Travis has got the Mud Dog, so he's on your team, Jeff. Travis has faith in the Mud Dog straight up in this one. As far as divisionals, again, this was tough to figure out who was going to fit in where. I do have the Mud Dogs fall into 4th. I think they're a little thin right now. I think that could change if he, bolsters his running back room maybe to be able to avoid an injury, not have to rely on Damian Harris so heavily. But yeah, I got him finishing 4th, and then Lil Jordan sitting at 3rd with a clear path to be able to maybe get into that 2nd spot. So, Nick, how you see this division shaking out for these two?
Yeah, I got Little Jord in 2nd, behind you, and then Troy in 3rd. I like Jord's running back room. Couple sleeper wide receivers with sleeper have been so much hype between Lazard and Gabe Davis, and of course Sutton. I'm curious to see how Tyreek's going to fit in that offense. Is it going to be even more boom and bust, or is he going to have a consistent target share? Well, yet to be determined. I mean, he's going to demand a consistent target share, but we'll see how he plays.
Absolutely. Jeff, how do you see the rest of this division shaking out?
Yeah, I got Jordan coming in at the 2nd spot here. Like you guys talked about, he's got a pretty solid and top-heavy lineup here with some really good opportunities with his wide receivers on his bench that if they do come through and really peak, he's going to be a pretty dangerous and solid team there. And then I got Troy coming in the 4th spot. Although he made a lot of really positive moves this year, I think it's just 1 year too soon. So this division is pretty tough, top to bottom. So I think Troy's going to be down there in the 4th slot this year.
All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got Benny and the Jets and Coach Ben Stelzer taking on Cobra Kai and Coach Kyle Stankowski. Jets coming into this one as a 22-point favorite. When I looked at this matchup, 22 is a big line, but I took the Jets here to go ahead and cover. Right, Dalvin Cook going against Green Bay. Green Bay's got a really good defense, but he's just so involved in that offense that it just doesn't. He's just one of those guys. It doesn't matter. He's gonna get the touches, gonna get the looks, and then you look at his wide receiver room of Kupp, Diggs, Adams, by far the best wide receiver room in the league. I don't really think that's even a question. So got to be happy rolling those guys out every week. So. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Jets to go ahead and cover this one. Nick, I'll toss it over to you. What you seeing with Kyle over here? Does he have a chance?
No, he doesn't. Ben is gonna cover that 22-point spread. Kyle, your team makes me a little sick. I can't lie to you. The running back room, Mitchell and Singletary, starting Tolbert, AJ Green, Jarvis may be okay. I don't know what the target breakdown is going to be there. It's kind of disgusting. I can't lie to you. I mean, I can't really talk too much, but Kyle, it's going to be a tough sledding this year, I think.
Dude, if it was like 5 years ago, starting AJ Green and Jarvis Landry would be sick.
Yeah,
I feel pretty good going into week 1.
Little
Jeff,
late
what do you see in this matchup?
I see an ass kicking coming. I see Ben's team just gonna absolutely throttle Stank's team here. I mean, Kyle's got a chance with Hurts and Mitchell if they come out good, but his wide receivers aren't even gonna compare or come close to what Benny's rolling out there. And quite frankly, Ben's team is pretty scary looking right now coming into week 1. So I'm gonna roll with Benny and the Jets.
Well, we'll go ahead and make it a clean sweep because Travis has got the Jets as well. Not only does he have the Jets, but
On lockdown. Well, here's the
Travis.
that's got the picks on lock.
nailed it. And not to be too anticlimactic with it, but I am looking at the doc here and I see all of us have the Jets finishing first. All of us have Cobra finishing last. I don't know if anybody has anything they want to say. I think it kind of speaks for itself.
Nope.
That's true.
That's pretty spot on.
All right, well, hopping into our next matchup, we got the Taint Ticklers and Coach Nick Stoll taking on Ball is Life and Coach John Lamers. Ball is a 10-point favorite in this one. Nick's drinking whiskey out of a pickle jar in honor of his bet. Nick, I'll toss it to you, and I'll give you your side of the ball as well. Go ahead and talk us through this.
I like my starters. I mean, once again, this year I am very thin. I don't know if I love Gibson, but we'll touch on that a little bit later. I mean, the offseason wasn't terrible to me with Allen Robinson to the Rams. I mean, he's got a bunch of hype, pushing him up in redraft boards. Pittman, same as well. I mean, my tight end room is terrible. So, I mean, I got no one really to start there. We hype about Hooper, but it's freaking Tennessee's offense, so who really cares about any passing options? I'm taking myself to win because I have to stay confident. Week 1.
Yeah,
baby.
and I see you got to start sitting here of Robert Woods, Melvin Gordon, or Chris Godwin here. And I'll chime in on that and tell you I'd sit in Godwin even if he is playing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's probably going to be on a snap count. I think today in practice he was still in a non-contact jersey, so just not the confidence to be able to roll him out there. And between the two of them, I'm going Gordon for sure. Game against Seattle, Denver should throttle there. I think that backfield's going to be closer to what it was last year than people want to admit. So I think Gordon's a strong play, and that stops you from having to play 2 Tennessee pass-catching options.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Jeff, I'll toss it over to you and give you John's side of the ball. What you seeing over there?
John had a pretty good week 1 lineup coming out here. Not gonna lie, his wide receivers look solid. They got some top heavy guys, or boom at boss guys, I should say, with Mike Williams, and DK I think is going to be like that this year. I'm really excited to see what Jamar Chase does after his rookie year, if he can build on that and become that, next stud in the making. But I think John's team is going to thrive with his running backs with Najee Harris, Derrick Henry, and I do like his A.J. Dillon play right now in that RB2 slot. I think we're going to see a lot of A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones on the field at the same time, and I'm thinking A.J. Dillon, just with his body size, is going to get the bulk of the goal line carries. So, he should see a pretty good target share or workload out there. So my question is, if Stafford, there's been a lot of injury or reports about his injured arm, and how is that going to look in week 1 against a pretty good Buffalo defense? But I'm going to actually I'm going to go with Ball is Life. I think there's enough here. I really like that Derrick Henry play. That's one of the things I looked at that kind of pushed me over to take John in this matchup. So that's the way I'm running.
Yeah, John's out here playing mind games by keeping Derrick Henry in his flex spot and putting A.J. Dillon in his RB spot, just trying to get in your head. But no, Yeah, it was tough. So John had actually asked me, if what I thought about AJ Dillon versus Cam Akers. He was already leaning AJ Dillon, I think, and I agreed with him. Right, Cam Akers is tough, especially against the Bills defense. You just don't know what the split's going to be with him and Darrell Henderson. So I think he's making the right call there. I am gonna be a little bold here. I just have to do it.
Mike's against the expert's pick. Are you gonna listen to a big dummy, or are you gonna listen to me?
I'm taking Nick here. I think Nick is surprising. I think a lot of us think of Nick's team as kind of aging out, right? He traded away all of his picks for Allen Robinson, who sucked last year. Kenny Golladay, who was playing all year, and he sucked. And so the stigma is that Nick's team is kind of garbage. But then you look and,
Toilet bowl
like
material.
you said, Nick, the starters are really solid. And, Melvin Gordon and Robert Woods are good depth pieces. Once you get Godwin back into this roster, I think you're going to have a really strong team. So I think you're going to keep pace in this one. I'll pick you to at least cover the spread. Travis is actually picking you straight up to win this one. So
let's go, Travis.
he's got some confidence. I do notice that, Nick, even though you picked yourself, you do have
Nick's bum of the week.
Spare any change, sir? No, off!
Yeah, my bum of the week is Gibson. He's projected about 12 points right now. I mean, just today we heard some I don't know if you guys saw that notification about Rivera saying that he's going to get the ball, so maybe this kind of looks stupid. But I thought he was in a bad place prior to today. We'll see when he goes out there. I don't know if he's going to hit that 12 points. I know it's against Jacksonville, but I don't know. There's not really any other options because the next guy up got shot. So
I'm pretty sure the coach meant that Gibson's going to get the ball on like punt returns and kick returns.
Yeah, kick returns.
What he was more alluding to.
JD's RB1, right? McKissick RB1.
Oh, yeah. I don't know that we need to spend a whole lot of time here. We're all very consistent on our divisional ranks all across the board. All of us have Ball finishing second in the division. Nick pulling up that third spot. I do think this is a division to watch where you've got a good chance of having three teams getting into the playoffs. I think that my division similarly could be one where you have three teams sneaking in. Obviously everybody can't have that happen, but definitely a place where third could still be enough for you. So moving on to our next matchup, we got Old Man Joe and Coach Joe Thomas taking on Jay's Juggernauts and Coach Jeff Gregory. The Old Man is a 3-point favorite here. Jeff, I'm going to let you defend yourself. What do you see in here?
I'll go on my side of the ball. We talked about Penny earlier. The way that Penny finished the season, I think he earned a spot in the starting lineup just to see mostly if he's going to keep doing that or not, if he can keep doing that. He's finally healthy this offseason going into week 1. So that's encouraging. I don't necessarily love my wide receiver room, but I think there's opportunity there, and sneaky value there for Christian Kirk and Darnell Mooney being, the number one wide receiver on both those teams, on kind of bad teams, but they could be down pretty early in these games and have to throw the ball quite a bit. So one guy I'm super excited about is finally being able to roll in my lineup is Travis Etienne too. I spent a high draft pick on him last year and was knocked out early in the preseason. So, we'll see. I think with this team, my team this year has a lot of young guys that have a lot to prove yet, but if they all hit, could be a sneaky play. So I'm going to roll with myself winning this game. A 3-point line is pretty tight. So like Nick did on his side of the picks, I'm going to roll with myself for some confidence there.
Yeah, I'm actually picking you to cover this as well, Jeff, and this is probably by far the game I think that's most likely to make me look stupid. As I look at Joe's side of the ball, I really like the guys he's got going. I think Javonte, like I mentioned earlier, I think that backfield's going to be more of a split than people are willing to admit, but I don't think it'll necessarily matter against Seattle. I think both running backs are going to get a lot of work there. Very down on Montgomery this year overall.
Yep.
Him and Sanders both I'm very questionable on. Sanders at least has a good matchup against Detroit, but we'll see how that Montgomery play over the course of the year if he stays the guy he's going with. as far as receivers, I'd be excited if I was Joe, rolling out A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So overall, I think a lot to be excited about from Joe. I just think that this is the week you edge him out. Yeah, Jeff, like you said, the Moonies and the Kirks aren't guys that anyone gets too excited about, but they could be guys with value on subpar teams. Nick, toss it over to you. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I got Old Man Joe in this one too. You touched on Montgomery and Sanders. I am very out on both of them this year, but his team is mediocre, and it always has been. I feel like every last year it was the epitome of it. It was just that average. I mean, better than when I did. I was low and high. He was averaging 95.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying you're throwing shade.
Consistent is what the word you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. Consistent. Yeah. So there's a lot of unknowns on your side of the ball. Like Jacobs, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't really like Jacobs this year. And you talked about those sneaky plays, but I'd like to see it first. I mean, I'm high on Mooney this year, but I got Old Man Joe winning this first game here. I think his mediocrity will get him that 3-point spread. So.
All right, Travis has the old man taking the win as well. Little bit of discrepancy on this one, so maybe we could talk to it briefly. I have old man finishing second in the division. I think this is overall the weakest of the three divisions, and I think Joe's team has got the players that can definitely get him there, can get him that second spot in the division. So I got him finishing second. Jeff, I got you finishing third. It wouldn't surprise me all that much if those switched. It wouldn't surprise me if neither of you made the playoffs, right? I feel like you're right in that grouping where it could go anywhere. So definitely curious how that's going to shake out. Nick, what are you seeing here?
Yeah, I got the same thing as you. Old Man Joe second, and then Jeff third. I mean, if Jeff hits, he should be up there in second, but it's yet to see what's going to happen with that. And I think Old Man Joe will come in second here.
And Jeff, I see you got a little more confidence in yourself. You're rolling that right into your season-long prediction.
Yeah, I think I got, it's the big if. So, if they hit, I'll be sitting decent. Mike, you were spot on. I could only see one team coming out of this division and making the playoffs with some of those other divisions and just the way it's going to work out. But, I look at Joe and Joe's team and my team, and to me, they're eerily similar. It's just going to see who can win the head-to-heads, and I'm hoping week one puts me on top here. So that's one of the big tiebreakers that I had there. So yeah, I'm going to roll with me as second and Joe as third to start.
Yeah, this could be an important one, coming down the stretch, but. You'll notice all of us had those guys as either second or third, and that's because of our last matchup. We got I Am Left-Handed, and Coach Kyle Monroe taking on Fish is a God, and Coach Tony Fisher. Fish is a 50-point favorite.
Wait,
Good God.
What was it?
That's
Mike?
got to be a typo, right?
Yeah.
I wrote that in the show doc, and I said, we're probably going to have to cap that, right? Like, we can't pick against a 50-point line. Like, we'll cap it at, 30, 35. Like, that's ridiculous, right? And then I was like, that's a pretty reasonable line. That's actually going to – maybe we should bump it up a little bit just to make sure, Some of Kyle's guys are getting, default, they're just fuck it, he'll score 5, even though he probably won't. So, yeah, Kyle's gonna be in rough shape here. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'll take Kyle's side of the ball. I'll take the gross side. I'll let one of you guys talk about something more fun. But Jerick McKinnon, what are you hoping he's gonna catch 4 balls? Same with Amir Abdullah. You're just praying that with some third down work, they catch 3 or 4 balls and run for 20 yards. That's the ceiling. That's what you're praying for.
Disgusting.
Terrace Marshall and Zay Jones are your 2 of your starting receivers. He's still got Julio and Darren Waller on the roster for now, so there's at least some points coming in. And then his best piece is Kyler Murray, but it's facing off against Josh Allen on the other side of the ball, so it just doesn't matter. So a 50-point spread, and I'm picking Tony to cover it. Jeff, I'll let you talk about Tony's side of the ball a little bit.
Yeah, it sounds gross, but I'm I'm right there with you, Mike. I'm going Tony's side here. You know, Tony with the Nick Chubb trade to get that RB2 spot kind of locked down, even though he had, DeAndre Swift, who I think is going to have an outstanding year, and Austin Eckler, who's going to be one of those top guys again. Man, this team is just top heavy. You look at Justin Jefferson, his biggest question mark is going to be, who his wide receiver 3 is going to be, and he's got, Elijah Moore, Michael Thomas, if he ever comes back, Juju, who's in just a great spot, so there's literally no weaknesses on Tony's team going into week 1 here. So 50 points seems outrageously high, but I think Tony gets it, and I think he gets it pretty easily.
Yeah, he's even got Devontae Parker in a new spot that could potentially crack that lineup if things fall the right way. I don't think they will, but it could happen. Nick, toss it to you. Pick your poison in this game.
Yeah, I'm taking Fish as a God. This is disgusting, Kyle. It shouldn't even be a team that can be played. This is disgusting. That's all I have to say about that. It's gross.
I love it. I think I do think that this, depending on what the league looks like 2 years from now, this could really change the way people look at rebuilding, because this is the most aggressive rebuild you could possibly take, right? Obviously, starting Jerick McKinnon and Amir Abdullah for a year, but to have 6, 7 first-round picks next year, whatever he's got right now, it's obviously the most aggressive rebuild we've seen in the league's history. And if it works for him, maybe that kind of sets the precedent of, like, people see that as how you need to do it. If your team's aging out, you just, get ahead of it. Rather than letting your guys get too old, you sell them all and get a huge reload for the following year and reset it all. So it'll be curious. If it doesn't work for him, he's going to be in trouble for a long time.
Wow.
And Travis even also, like you talked on Julio Jones and Darren Waller being on his team for now. Those are guys that I don't think by the end of the year, I don't think they're going to be on there. So, I think Monroe's going to be week in and week out, kind of in contention of that lowest score of the week, and maybe even setting it every couple of weeks. So
probably looking at lowest score in team history or league history.
Yeah, please.
So Travis also weirdly picked Tony. We're not going to talk through divisions here because I think you all know where we're going with both of them. Jeff, I see one more thing before we move on, though.
Jeff's keep on cooking.
Who wants some man meat? I do. I want some man meat.
I think I put this in the wrong spot, actually. So.
Oh, yeah, you did.
I did. Week 1.
Awkward.
Week 1 issues. But it doesn't really fit here. But, yeah, my keep on cooking player, I grabbed someone from the Super Bowl that scored over 20 points and I believe won the MVP. I'm going with Cooper Kupp. Guy had just an outstanding year last year, and I think this year is going to keep on going, and we're going to see that in week 1. So got to work out the kinks a little bit here, so I apologize
for show jitters. It's all right.
Yeah.
All right, well, we got our matchups out of the way. Let's jump into Old Reliable.
Ask me the questions, Bridgekeeper. I'm not afraid.
This here's Mike's. Will it happen?
All right, Mike. Will Monroe win at least one game?
It will not happen.
That was Mike's. Will it happen?
All right, I blacked out again. What happened?
Good choice.
All right, we'll move on to our last segment here before we hit the road.
Shut up, baby, I know it. Shut up, baby, I know it. Absolute guarantee.
All right, absolute guarantees. As you know, we're going to lock something in that we know for a fact will happen, and we're going to seal it with a shut up, baby. Nick, lead us off.
I got no hosts will be in the toilet bowl this year.
Ooh, first time ever.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
I like
kind of hoping Mike sneaks in there somehow. Just get the trifecta going.
What?
If I end up in the toilet bowl, I want to take it home. Honestly, if I end up in the toilet bowl, that means things went so hilariously bad that I won't even be mad about
Absurd.
Yeah.
Like,
you could just
like
laugh.
that would be
bad.
That would be hilarious.
So many injuries.
All right, I'll take it on next year. Kind of building off what we talked about earlier with the Packer running backs. So my guarantee here is that both Packer running backs are going to score at least 12 fantasy points. And I think this is going to be a pretty consistent one. It won't even be a just this week thing. I think they're both going to be up there in average. But for this week, I'm giving them both 12.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
Jeffy, take us home.
I'm going with Tua's newest and favorite target down there in Miami. I got Tua and Tyreek will connect for a touchdown this week. And I think it's going to be a pretty long one. So I'm super excited about that connection. So I'm going to seal it with a shut up, baby, I know it.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
All right, so this doesn't count for you, Jeff, as far as your guarantee. But is he going to throw it all the way downfield, or is Tyreek going to catch like a 12-yard pass and take it 50 yards?
I'd be happy with both, in all honesty, but I think it's going to be probably like a 12-yard out that he gets it and then just like and beats everyone down the sideline.
That seems more reasonable. All right, with all that out of the way, welcome back. Happy to be back. Football starting Thursday. Good luck, everybody, unless you're playing one of us. Have a good one.
Webster's Dictionary defines radish as a swollen, pungent-tasting edible root, high in potassium, which can help lower blood pressure. Or more importantly, three guys spitting nonsense and talking about fantasy football. Add salt and pepper and chomp into another episode next time. See y'all later.
I like that you always write Tua as Tau.
Tau.
To a believer!
Tau. Is that how you spell it?
No.
How do you spell it?
You don't actually think that, do you?